So welcome to all those who have joined us today. My name is Samuel Kadima, and I'm the host for today's event. And this event has been organized by Nairobi DevOps community. So you're all welcome. So today we are going to have an interesting session on accelerating DevOps transformation, best practices and case studies that is going to be presented by Collins Hillary. So we look forward to the interesting session. Um, Before we continue and look at the agenda for the day, we have a quote here for this day. Yeah. So if you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. So if you cannot achieve a big thing at an instant, you can make smaller steps towards achieving something and doing those small steps, implementing them perfectly, putting enough effort on them and giving your best. So the agenda for this part is we're going to have an icebreaker, and then I'm going to share with you the meeting expectations, and then you're going to learn about the community, and then after that, I'm going to invite Collins. And as I invite Collins, I'll also be taking any questions that you guys may have for the community. So for the icebreaker, here, you can respond on the chat or you can raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to respond. So if you are given 1 billion US dollars, what are the top 3 things that you'd buy with that money? So you can respond on the chat and also you can raise your hand and I'll give you the opportunity to talk. Yes, Frank. No. Actually, this was somebody who wanted to join the meeting. So anyone would like to volunteer? Any volunteers to respond to this icebreaker? Anyone would like to give it a try? Yes. We can see on the chat here we have a number. So we have Samuel Wambugu. He says you would buy a mainframe computer. Ben Kivuva, time travel machine. So you are giving 3 things, top 3 things that you would buy. So what are the top 3 things? So you can just give them three things in a list. Anyone would like to try? And I'll give you a chance to talk. Marceline, do you want to break the ice? Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, so maybe shares. It depends on now then what shares would be looking hopeful, and then land.
Okay.
I don't know the third item, but mostly investments.
Okay. That is good. So I can see some responses on the chat. So Samuel Ombugu said, I think he had shared the first thing, mainframe computer, a ranch, and a chopper. So those are the things that he would purchase, the top 3 things. So for me, if I purchased things, I think, what would I purchase actually? I would purchase a time machine. And then if that money would allow, it would be enough to buy a time machine. Yeah. I would purchase a time machine, buy a mansion, a very good mansion next to the beach. And then what would I buy with the other one? Maybe I can also buy, I can buy shares in good tech companies. So we'll move to the next thing. So some of the meeting expectations is mute yourself when you're not speaking. Raise your hand if you want to speak. Use the chat box to write your comments and questions. Be respectful and be curious. So about the community, we are a community of DevOps enthusiasts. We consist of people who are new to DevOps and also people who are experts. So if you're joining us today, our mission is to create a supportive and inclusive community that values diversity and supports learning and growth. And our vision is to be a leading DevOps community in Nairobi and beyond, uh, driving innovation and empowering professionals to excel in their careers. Here is our team, some of the people who ensure that we have these events. They organize the events, they create the flyers, they find the speakers. So these are the people who work behind the scenes to ensure that we can be able to have successful events. And then, in case you want to help the community, one of the ways you can help us with is help us by volunteering in running workshops for the community or offering some talks. You can also connect us with professionals in the industry, DevOps professionals. You can give us feedback on how we can improve and make the community better. And you can also share new ideas. So you can also share anything that we are not doing well, and we can work on that. So the other way you can help us is by sharing our posts. So when we share our posts on social media, you can reshare our posts so that we can reach out to more people who may be interested in DevOps or in our events or in what we will be posting. So you can also post on our channels. You can tag us or post in our channels. So we have like on LinkedIn, you have Twitter. So you can, if in case you post something, you can tag us. If you want to post on the community, let's say on LinkedIn, you just post and then we will approve it. So if you've written something or you have something you want to share with the community, you can be able to share there. You can also share on our WhatsApp channel. That will be great. The other way that you can help us with is in documenting activities. So we have events and some of them are physical. So we may need photography, we may need videography. So if you think you can help us there, then you can reach out and then you can help us in documenting. So also taking minutes for meetings and such things. So the other way you can chip in is by helping us in organizing events. So the events that we have, so it's not something that is organized by one person. So if you think you can chip in one way or another in ensuring we have a successful event, then you can also reach out. So the topic for today is accelerating DevOps transformation, best practices and case studies. And Collins Hillary is going to be taking us through that today. So as I invite Collins, here we have some of the links to our community. So if you're not from the community, you can be able to scan this and join the community. So you can scan any of this and then you'll be able to join the respective groups. Yeah. Then, yeah, we can be able to interact more there. So as I invite the speaker for the day, I would like to, in case you have any questions about the community, you can ask at this point. So as I allow the speaker to set up, so I'll stop presenting and invite the speaker. So over to you, Collins. So as the speaker sets up and shares his screen, then I can, in case you have a question, I can be responding to it. Any question about the community? Is there anyone with a question in regards to the community? Okay, good. So welcome, Collins. You can go ahead. The floor is yours now.
Thank you, Samuel. For all the people who are joined in, I hope you guys are good. So today's topic, I'll just jump right into it. It's a Sunday, so people need to prepare for next week. So I'll jump right into the topic of the day. It should be quite short, I believe. Most of us are already in the DevOps space. So what I'll be doing is basically starting from scratch. So the idea here is the next talks from this one will be basically going through, we'll be starting from zero to hero, from basics of DevOps to tools to who are using it to how to implement and all that. So this is the start of a whole series. So I'm glad that you guys have already joined. And I hope you'll walk with me during this series till the end. And I hope you learn, of course, as we proceed. So quick introduction. My name is Collins. I'm the CEO of Devligence Limited. I also work in a lot of consultancy kind of businesses, from fintech to agribusiness and all that, from DevOps to basic software engineering, and a whole range of stuff. So I think with that summarizes what I do at a very high level. I'll just get into it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. But these are basics, so unless it's a basic question, I don't think we'll have many questions for this session. And let me. I hope my screen is visible. Someone, please confirm.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So what we'll be discussing for today, we'll have four main topics. We'll talk about what DevOps transformation is and what DevOps transformation is. We'll talk about why it is important, and also I'll highlight some basic best practices within the DevOps transformation field. I'll give you two case studies of where they had an issue, then they went through this DevOps transformation, and they were able to squash the issue that they had. So those are the four main areas we'll discuss on today. So what is DevOps transformation? So DevOps transformation refers to the process of adopting and implementing the DevOps principles. So this means we are looking at an organization that doesn't have the DevOps practices and principles implemented, or an organization that already has them, but they need to more or less streamline. Okay, so that's what DevOps transformation. So it's just the process of adopting DevOps, okay, implementing those principles, the practices, and the methodologies. Now, for you to be able to perform this DevOps transformation in your organization or in your projects, we need first to understand what is DevOps. You know, what does DevOps entail? So DevOps, basically, it's an approach. You know, it's not like it's not a product. It's not like a physical thing, or it's not some set standards and guidelines. So it's basically an approach. The way we have system SDLC, system development lifecycle, the way we have all these principles. So DevOps is also an approach. So the main aim of DevOps is to shorten the software development lifecycle, increasing the frequency of software releases, and improving the quality, reliability, and security of software applications. So DevOps is basically the process and the approach where by implementing its principles, you are able to benefit as an organization or on your product by increasing the frequency of releasing the software, the updates. Of course, DevOps improves the quality and reliability. And of course, with DevSecOps, it allows you to also improve the security aspects of your application. So from development to release, so the whole pipeline. So, and with that basic understanding of DevOps, because that's what DevOps is, there's nothing extra to it. So what are the primary objectives? So what are the primary objectives of this DevOps? So the primary objectives of implementing the DevOps principles and into your organization, into the product development life cycle, what will benefit from is accelerated delivery. Now, what do we mean with when we say, just a minute, sorry about that. Okay, so what do we mean by accelerated delivery in terms of the benefits of it? So this is accelerated delivery is reducing the time it takes to develop, basically. So we have an application. We are a fintech company. We have this mobile application that we need to release to the market. So with implementing the DevOps, and of course, we are speaking more of what DevOps is, what are the objectives and all that, because they all marry and they're all coined in terms of implementing it in an organization. They're all coined into DevOps transformation, because it's a process. So that's why I'm still in the line of what DevOps is and the objectives. So we are saying one of the primary objectives of implementing DevOps in the organization is accelerated delivery. So this is basically reducing the time it takes to develop, to deploy, to test the software, enabling that quick response to market. Okay, so with DevOps, you're able to reach the market much faster and easier. You're able to respond to client needs. If you're still doing a market assessment with your products out there, you're able to get feedback from the client and be able to make those changes and those modifications to your application quite easier and faster. So that leads to that accelerated delivery. Now there is enhanced quality. So DevOps allows you to improve the software quality. And how does it do this? It does this by automating testing. That is one. Of course, with automated testing, then this reduces errors because you're able to capture them quite early. Of course, also still on the enhanced quality point, it helps you to enhance, how do I call it, reliability. So we've talked about automated testing, reducing errors in the pipeline, and of course, to the end product, and enhancing reliability. Now, this results in a better user experience. And with a better user experience, then your clients will be more or less happy. And of course, it reduces post-release issues. So currently, if you have an application and you're deploying, and there's no DevOps structure, and you haven't done, maybe you're doing manual testing and it's not that extensive. This means when you release your product to the client, then there's a high probability that there will be issues on the client side with the product already released. So that's what we call post-release issues, bugs and all that. So another primary objective, and these are objectives that if you say you're doing implementing a DevOps structure in your organization, then it needs to fit this objective. It needs to answer this objective. It needs to perform these objectives. Okay? So there is improved collaboration. Now, improving collaboration as an objective means DevOps is also meant to break down, we call them the silos, the organizational silos, yeah? So with DevOps implemented, because in a DevOps structure, we have the developers on this end, we have maybe the testers, the security guys, and we have maybe the reliability engineers at the end. So with DevOps principles implemented, now this means on an organizational level, it will promote collaboration. Okay? So it will promote collaboration between, let's say, the development teams, operation teams, and maybe other stakeholders within the pipeline. So this will foster that culture of shared responsibility. If implementing a DevOps structure that won't improve collaboration, then probably you're doing it are all wrong. Yeah, because DevOps is a collaboration space. Now we do have also efficiency gains as an objective. So this means with DevOps implemented, as we said earlier, we have automating of the tests, also of security aspect. So this brings this efficiency in terms of it automates these repetitive tasks, it streamlines the processes, and of course it will optimize the resource utilization. So with this kind of approach, it will of course lead to increased operational efficiency. Yeah. So efficiency gains should also be something that is met, an objective that is met by the DevOps implementation and transformation. Now, the DevOps implementation should also meet the continuous feedback objective. So this means it should establish monitoring and feedback loops, enabling that continuous improvement with data-driven insights, of course. Now, if you're implementing a DevOps pipeline, that means that within the pipeline, you need to implement this feedback, the feedback loops. Yeah, you need to ensure that you're picking data from different points. Now, with that data being picked more or less automatically, then you're able to have that data-driven insights, making decision-making quite easy through the process. Now, we have the security integration, which is DevSecOps, also a primary objective of the DevOps. Now, DevSecOps is a new concept, but thinking of DevOps as a whole, without security, then I think we'll be moving in the wrong direction. So security is a very huge objective of implementing the DevOps pipeline while doing the whole DevOps transformation. So integrate security practices throughout the software development lifecycle, ensuring that security is not an afterthought, but a fundamental part of the process. We have the last one as cultural transformation. Now, DevOps, as we said when we were talking about improving collaboration, cultural transformation means when you cultivate a DevOps culture, it will bring this transformation or these values, where we promote collaboration, innovation, learning, creating a dynamic and adaptable organization. So all these are points that when you're doing a DevOps pipeline, implementing DevOps in your organization, you'll see that within a span of time, your organization will start changing how people relate with each other, how people collaborate, innovations, how people are innovating and coming up with ideas, because most of the tasks have been automated. Everything is running as required. So the time to bring in innovations will be there. Times to collaborate will be there. Times for people in your team to learn new stuff. So DevOps will bring about this cultural transformation. So by aligning with these objectives, I believe, as a personal opinion, organization can successfully, undertake the DevOps transformation, driving faster innovation and improved customer satisfaction. Any questions on the primary objectives? Okay. So basically, yeah.
I just wanted to say, if anyone has a question, you can just type on the chat as the presentation goes on, and then they'll be answered when there is an opportunity to answer.
Okay. Okay, so I'll proceed. So as still on objectives, just to summarize it, when you're doing DevOps transformation in your organization, then these points need to be clearly outlined. We need to make sure that the procedures and the infrastructure you're setting up will lead to accelerated delivery, will enhance quality, will improve collaboration within the team and all the shareholders involved, will bring efficiency gains, more or less by automation, will have continuous feedback, from the pipeline, ensuring that we always have up-to-date data. And of course, we'll have security integration, which has to be there. At this point, security integration is a must for DevOps, and it automatically and at the end leads to cultural transformation for your organization. With these objectives met, then you're sure you're in the right path of doing a complete and successful DevOps transformation. So why are we talking about DevOps transformation, and why is it important? Why do we need to undertake this transformation? So some of the importance of DevOps transformation, we are looking at faster time to market. And I think we've discussed this in the previous slides. With a DevOps pipeline, and this automatically leads to a faster time to market. By the time you get feedback from clients, you're able to organize your dev team real quick, make the modifications and push without any downtime. Now there's improved quality and reliability. Now for the improved quality and reliability, this means DevOps will promote automation, continuous integration, automated testing. Now this with the automation bit with continuous integration within the pipeline and the automated testing, this automatically results in a high quality software. So it will improve the quality and reliability. So meaning there will be fewer errors, fewer defects. There will be faster resolution times, and this will lead to a more reliable application, because now there'll be reduced downtime. With reduced downtime, then there is reduced user frustration. So improved quality and reliability is also one of the importances of having this DevOps transformation. We have enhanced collaboration. So enhanced collaboration is brought about where DevOps actually encourages collaboration by default, and the communication between the different departments and the shareholders. So now with this collaboration leads to a shared understanding of the challenges, the goals, then with everybody understanding the goals, the end goal and the challenges, then there will be this culture of teamwork, and accountability for each shareholder within the process. So DevOps transformation also brings about enhanced collaboration. There is increased efficiency. So the automation bit in DevOps reduces this manual time-consuming tasks, allowing teams to focus on higher value activities. So that's good for the company, because it means we'll focus our efforts to maybe innovation and to maybe research and such, and not focusing our efforts in making sure there are no bugs or doing the tests and all that. So there's this efficiency gains, and we discussed in the last slide, that translate into cost savings and resource optimization. Another important bit of DevOps transformation is better user experience. Now, these are points that drill down from the main objectives, the primary objectives of DevOps. So with better user experience, this is brought in by when you have those faster responses, faster time to market, the faster development cycles, and improved software quality, then the end users get to appreciate. They get to have this customer satisfaction and even loyalty in some cases. User experience is quite critical for any software. So this can be improved and can be met by implementing DevOps pipeline, or doing the DevOps transformation. And of course, with the DevOps being implemented by undertaking this DevOps transformation, you also get a competitive advantage. Now, organizations that embrace DevOps can deliver, as we said, new features really fast, updates more quickly than their competitors. So with this kind of this kind of agility, it gives them this competitive edge, so that because they can respond more swiftly to market trends and customer demand. And there's nothing as important as that for any organization. The moment you're able to respond swiftly and change based on the market, then that automatically gives you a competitive advantage. And DevOps can help organizations to do this, because as we discussed earlier, there's those feedback loops. We have within the pipeline, we have those customer responses. So it will definitely give you a competitive advantage. There's the risk mitigation. With DevOps being implemented, and of course, having those automated testing, continuous monitoring, you're able to identify and address issues really early in the development process. So it's more of a proactive approach to security when you're doing DevOps and DevSecOps. So this kind of proactive approach will reduce the risk of sometimes costly post-release failures, as we had mentioned. So with being able to do risk mitigation way earlier on the DevOps process in terms of security, then you are able to reduce the risk once the application is on the end user's end, which sometimes it might be really costly once you start thinking about security vulnerabilities that could be found on the system. So risk mitigation is also an important part of this DevOps transformation. The scalability and resilience. Now, if the whole point of having DevOps, apart from automation and security, faster time to market, we do have the aspect of scalability. Yeah. So if you have a DevOps structure, maybe you're using Terraform or Pulumi or something, or Ansible, so you're able to scale your infrastructure and applications efficiently. So this is crucial because let's say you started with 100 users, and now within 2-3 months you're at 3,000 users or 100,000. You need to be able to scale infrastructure efficiently, and this can be actually achieved using DevOps principles. So it will help you scale and, of course, be resilient and handling any sudden increase in demand. Ensuring high availability, which is when we talk about scalability and resilience, we are basically talking about high availability at any given point for your system. Now, compliance and security, DevSecOps, again, I've repeated it because it's so important in this ever-changing trend in technology. Security is an important aspect. So compliance and security is brought about within DevOps because you need to implement the security aspect in the software lifecycle, ensuring that security is a core consideration from the beginning. So not having security being done at the end. We need security to be done from the beginning, from tests to ensuring you're not packaging dependencies that are outdated or have security vulnerabilities, meeting compliance requirements, and all that. So compliance and security is also an important, and the benefits you get from having that DevOps transformation bit in your organization. Now, cultural transformation still is also an important bit. DevOps will promote that culture of continuous learning, experimentation, ownership also of the different sections of the pipeline, and creating a more adaptive and innovative workforce. So culture transformation, DevOps, implementing DevOps will lead to a cultural shift within organization. And this I've seen firsthand. Yeah. So these are the importances with having the DevOps transformation within the organization. And I think coming almost to an end, not yet, but as we wind down, because we've talked about what DevOps is, we've talked about key principles and the key objectives for DevOps. We've talked about how, with an aside of what DevOps is, what does it mean to transform and to transform your organization into a DevOps organization, have the DevOps principles and all that. So that important. So what are the best? So best practices in terms of definition. So best practices represent a set of proven effective methods, processes, and approaches that organization can adopt to optimize their DevOps transformation and achieve better outcomes. So best practices are basically methods or things that people have done and processes that have been laid out that allow organization, and if implemented as they are, there's a very high chance that your DevOps transformation process will be much easier and it will work. So I've just highlighted a couple of them, some of the best practices in the DevOps transformation journey. We have establishing specific, measurable, and time-bound goals. Now, you can't do anything without a goal. I think that's basic human concepts. Now, for implementing DevOps, you still need to define the goal. Like, what's the end goal? Yeah, what is the end goal for this DevOps transformation? You need clear and well-defined goals and objectives for that foundational success. So these goals, of course, should be measurable. They should be achievable. They should be relevant, and of course, give yourself a time. So this, I believe we were calling them smart goals or something. So clear goals and objectives, that should be one of the best practices of while you're defining and you want to have this DevOps implemented in your organization or in your projects. The next one will be culture. So for you to have, as much as DevOps influences culture, at the same time, if your organization already has the culture, then integration of DevOps will be quite easy. Okay, so by cultivating this culture, which is crucial, you're able to foster a culture of collaboration, communication, and shared responsibility. And we've talked extensively about culture. Yeah. We have the tools, the DevOps tools. So you need to select, integrate appropriate DevOps tools. Now, there's too many tools in the DevOps space currently. So depending with your project, depending with the organization, depending with your budget, depending with the skill sets you have in your organization, you need to select. Now, as a best practice, we can't really define specific tools, but it is a best practice to select, integrate. Now, you can either choose a tool and run with it to the end, but I've seen in most scenarios, tools change along the way, depending, of course, with how they're implemented. Like now, we had Terraform, then I saw Polomi, which with its interaction, it becomes easier for developers to use it, but still Terraform is quite stable and standard in terms of usage, of course, in an organization. So you need to assess your team, you need to assess what you guys are building, and then select and integrate appropriate the tool that you guys are comfortable with and will run with them in the long run. As I said, this is tied to the goals. If you have a goal, you need to set a goal for maybe 5-10 years down the line. So will this tool be able to accommodate all those years before we think of changing? Now, we do have also CI/CD pipelines. So for DevOps, CI/CD pipelines are a backbone of the DevOps structure. So within the CI/CD pipeline, we have the automated building, the testing, the deployments. So some of the best practices within establishing the CI/CD pipelines, you need to set up a pipeline, a robust pipeline for that. You need to set up the automation testing at each stage of development, which is crucial, from security to unit tests, code level. You need to ensure, proper version control and code management within the pipelines. So as part of establishing a CI/CD pipeline, there are those points you need to consider. First, you need to select a CI/CD pipeline tools that you guys need to use that are efficient for you. with several factors. You need to implement testing within the pipelines. You need to have proper version control and code management. Now, I think once I release these slides, I'll add more notes in terms of in detailed descriptions for each point, so that we all get a good understanding on what these best practices are. Now, there's monitoring and feedback. For any DevOps process, and we've talked about those feedback loops, monitoring and feedback, this includes the real-time monitoring. If you have Grafana, if you have Prometheus, if you have, tools that within the pipeline that can give you these alerts and notifications for any abnormal behavior. Now, this also plays a part in reducing the risk at the end user's part, where you're able to see any abnormal behavior, any vulnerabilities before the user sees them. Yeah. So implementing those logs and analytics will give you this actionable data. Now, so monitoring and feedback is also a best practice within the DevOps. It will allow you to, to make informed decisions. Implementing real-time monitoring also affect, based on the data you gather, it will also affect how and which tools you use in terms of the DevOps process, how you establish your CI/CD. So for the first, I think, a month, you need to organization, you need to implement real-time monitoring, so that you get enough data to allow you to make decisions on the tools, the pipelines, and of course also the end goal. It will allow required. Now there's the security bit of it again. So as a best practice, you need to embed security practices through life cycle. So this means you need to conduct regular assessments, scans, security scans. You need to, of course, the automating of the security scans and vulnerability scanning with the process. Also, I think a bit that people don't talk about much is involving security experts within your DevOps process. Now, most organizations, they don't really hire, they don't have dedicated security teams. So if you don't have a dedicated team for security, if you're doing a personal project or organizational level, you can always outsource. It's not, when it comes to security, I always say it's not about the money. Security is quite important. Yeah. So having a security in the pipeline, or you yourself being a security person within the pipeline, then it's a good benefit. It's an additional benefit to a DevOps process. So we need also to consider including security expert. And I think, before I forget, I think Adima also will need to have probably a session with, because if we keep talking about DevOps without having security experts also give us their insights on the process, then we'll be leaving out a huge part. So as a best practice, it's good to have those security practices throughout the cycle and have people to advise on that. We do have, so also as a best practice, this is mostly for the management team, workshops, learning resources, webinars, like the way the DevOps community is doing for your team. So you need to identify the skill gaps within your team, provide these training programs, encourage your team members to do certifications, have that continuous learning, and that culture of knowledge sharing and mentorship. So with considering all these best practices, now it is always said that you can only be, when you're given best practices, then it's up to you to either follow them or not. Yeah, because best practices are based on industry standards, more or less. Now, if you need to implement which one is relevant to your organization and to your setting, So best practice, not all of them can be implementable on where you are currently, but the end goal is to have the best practices outlined at the very base of the implementation. Yeah. So we'll go into case studies. Now I'll give 2 case studies and I'll be quite brief about them because I don't know if I have the right to talk about them. So if you are from these companies, please, it's not me. This is not me. So I have, as well, I'll highlight 2 companies. One is a fintech and the other is an agribusiness company. So I just highlight what their problems were when they took the DevOps transformation, what the solutions they took. So problem, solution, and the results that were achieved. So the first is where I work as a consultancy. It's called Green Connect. It's an agribusiness. So Green Connect is a company that deals with basically helping farmers from small-scale farmers from planting to harvesting to quality assurance to packaging and all that to exportation, selling, packaging and all that. So Green Connect, the challenges that they faced from a technical standpoint was with them having an application for the farmers and the agents, they had slow software release cycles. They said having fast to market kind of strategy on the DevOps is quite a win for an organization. So they didn't have that. So they had these slow software release cycles. They had frequent errors in production because you're trying to release faster. And by releasing faster without some checks, they had these frequent errors in production, which of course led to a not as so it wasn't for the end users. It was a bit tricky. They lost a few because of those kind of errors. It affected the end user, what do you call it, interaction with the software. So there was limited collaboration between the development and operation teams. Everybody was working as a silo, so meaning everybody was separate. So what kind of solutions did they advise them to implement, and what they implemented? So first of all, we established the goals, and I've talked about this in terms of best practices. We established the DevOps goals and objectives, and aligning those goals to the business outcomes. So they want to release applications update to application every 2 weeks, or getting feedback from their farmers easily, and being able to have all that data and insight, so they're able to make informed decision. So we aligned those kind of business outcomes to DevOps transformation goals. Now, we also implemented the DevOps culture. So this meant organizing cross-functional teams and emphasizing shared responsibility. Now, this wasn't quite easy because we had to do webinars, we had to do physical sessions just to, impact that culture within the organization, showing them how they can work together within the DevOps process to be able to meet the business outcomes and the DevOps goals. We also implemented a lot of automation, of course, in selecting the specific tools that met their business outcomes. So, of course, this was factored in from the skill set that was on the ground, and of course also the budget that they had for this transformation. So there's that implementing of the automation and the selection of tools. Another solution we implemented with them was we introduced a CI/CD pipeline, of course. So this ties up to the DevOps automation. So this led to automated testing and deployments, which was all of them when combined led to faster release times and lower, and fewer errors in production. Okay. Of course, monitoring of applications, and the infrastructure in real time, allowing for that proactive issue identification. So with implementing this kind of solution and the DevOps transformation, the best practices that we've discussed, they were able to reduce their time to market, from a couple of months to weeks, which was quite good. They were able to do this rapid feature delivery for their product. They were also able to achieve software quality because we were able to reduce production errors. And of course, as part of more or less like a bonus, they were able to enhance collaboration and communication between the teams. Okay, so that was for Green Connect. So they had the challenges of software release cycles, errors in production and collaboration, and using the best practices for DevOps, we were able to achieve results of the reduced time to market, software quality, and collaboration. Now, we have AOL Kenya. This is a financial institution. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a financial institution, and some of the challenges they were facing was regulatory requirements. Okay, so with a finance or a fintech kind of company, anything dealing with finance, there's that regulatory requirements that need to be met, especially from a security standpoint, data compliance, and all that. Another issue they faced was now the security and compliance in itself. Of course, with fintech, the financial space, the market is changing very rapidly, so they needed that faster time to market. There was also the slow decision making and lack of innovation within the organization. And so we were able to still, with the same principle and the same objectives and best practices, we were able to, to transform the organization from a DevOps angle, and implement these DevOps practices, automating the manual processes. Of course, this will accelerate software delivery, implementing the CI/CD pipelines, promoting a culture of transparency, adaptability. That also played a part in that. So with implementing the best practices, we are able to achieve a few results from reduced product development cycles, meaning we were able to, that faster time to market, which is quite an important point if you're doing DevOps. If you can be able to demonstrate the process you want to implement will mean faster time to market with reduced errors, then that's a win. And of course, we are able also to improve their products quality and reliability. So this resulted in a high customer satisfaction by default. Collaboration between the teams and innovation and responsiveness. Now, in terms of security and compliance, we were able to implement the security aspect. And for this, what we did is we brought in our security partner called Yale Bridges. So we were able to bring them on board, and they were able to implement that security aspect from a financial, regulatory, and compliance, data compliance, and all that within the DevOps circle. Yeah. So those are the two case studies. So I think this will be the last slide. See, time is running. So what next after having all this information on what data DevOps transformation is and what it entails? So first point is DevOps is adaptable. Now, DevOps is quite unique as any other process, that each organization has their own needs, their own business outcomes. So you need to modify your DevOps implementation to different organizations based on their needs. So if an organization has business outcome A, then your DevOps should meet business outcome A. It should not be the same as another previous organization that had business outcome B. So DevOps is adaptable. You can modify it, be able to adapt it to different organization needs. Now, you need also to consider industry-specific requirements and regulatory constraints. I believe if you are implementing DevOps in maybe a fintech space and agribusiness space, as the example I've just given, I think that the DevOps process or implementation will be a bit different. So you need also to understand the requirements and regulatory constraints for the industry before you implement DevOps for them. Focus on cultural change. When there is that cultural transformation within the company, then DevOps will be quite easier to run and be able to monitor and be able to have the benefits of DevOps within the organization. Always, at any given time, continuously evaluate and refine your DevOps approach. So DevOps is also a change that is still coming up. It's still changing and changing and changing. So you need to continuously evaluate and refine your DevOps approach. Now, with the basics of DevOps transformation, what DevOps is and the kind of best practices. So in the next series, we'll be able to implement these best practices step by step, setting up environments to complete hosting of the DevOps process, the DevSecOps part and all that. So I believe at this point, I think I'll now take questions if there are any. If they're not, then I think we can close them at that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for the presentation. I see there is a question there. Gilbert, you are raising your hand. You have a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay. Was that a mistake?
A mistake, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay. So is there anyone with a question or comment concerning the session? So just first says, great session, Collins. Do we have any questions from the audience? Questions or comments are welcome. Okay, so what are your comments on the session? Did you enjoy the session? I hope you guys can hear me.
I believe it was a very basic session. So I think.
Okay.
We are no DevOps. We are experts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found the session interesting and I enjoyed it. And I look forward to the next ones that are coming up.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are no questions from you guys, then I think I'll just take this moment to thank Collins, first of all, for preparing for us this presentation and for sparing his time to ensure that he shares something with the community, and also for you all for joining the session. So thank you for that. And if you are not in our community, so at this point, let me just share the links that you can join our community from. So if you are not in our community, you can be able to scan the codes that I'm sharing on the screen. And you'll be able to see, you'll be able to join the community. So the active groups that we have are LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and Twitter. So you can join either of the three. So, and I look forward to interacting with you there more. So if there is nothing else left, I think this will bring us to the end of the meeting. And I wish you guys a good week ahead.
Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.